Hello, welcome back. If you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing. And today I am sharing how I use glass watercolor palettes to paint and how I stretch my canvas on a glass board. It is going to be a wonderful time, and I can't wait to share my thoughts with you.
Welcome back to my channel where I teach watercolor lessons. I offer watercolor and paper craft lessons for those eager to discover the joy of creation and share their artistic expressions with loved ones.
I want to kind of share with you how I use these I have two glass board palettes, and they are magnetic. So what I mean by is like, this is a magnetic board right here. It's just like the glass board, except for it's just gray, which is really nice for watercolor. I also like to use a small palette for stretching, like a small, like if I'm just using a normal watercolor paper, I can stretch it on this glass board, and I will show you that. And then I can let it dry and then paint regularly. I also love that the 9x12 one is bigger, perfect for bigger sizes, 5x7s, 8x10s, that I could paint and stretch my watercolor on here. I also use these amazing magnets. These are called the Mega Magnets, and what I'll do is I'll put them together just like this so that they're two up, and I don't know if it'll share very well, but then I can put this right here, so then I have it at an angle and I can paint so that the water and the pigments mixes on this. I can also change it out, and I can move it more like this, so if I need it to be horizontal or landscape, I have that option. And so if you're thinking, well, I probably would want the bigger one, that's no problem at all. The 9x12 one also works just fine. And what I love about it is I can get it kind of to whatever angle I need it to, and I can always add more or take away less. But if I just need a little bit, then I could just do something like this and then leave it on top of like that, and it just has a little bit of a angle to it as well. Okay, so I'm going to use Cookie Monster, this pineapple, and this lollipop. Stretch our canvas. Voila! I love stretching my canvas for stuff like this because I can really get the color. Alright, so I just got done painting this again, but I used lollipop and Cookie Monster and this yellow pineapple, and it's looking beautiful. I'm going to add some more, and I might even just add it right onto it. Yellow. Whoops. Okay. I thought I was recording and I wasn't, but what I did was I just went over a black marker and I just like made a mountain shape. It was not perfect, that's okay, and I colored it all in just like I saw the picture. And then I wanted some birds, so I just did some little V's. I'll do one more. I did a V like that, and I just did it to make it look natural, and that's all I did. But I think this will be a great card. I could probably stamp a sentiment right here if I wanted to. Otherwise, it's just gonna be there. It was fun to create, and I can give it to a friend if I wanted to. You get the set of magnets for 4, and I could do it in the corners, which also makes sense. Whatever. This is just to keep your. And then I am going to put these magnets together, 2 up, right? They're 2 up, so this gives me about 2 inches or 1.5 inches of a slope, so to speak. That's probably, anyways. So then I have, I'm going to get some beautiful water color happening. Whenever you paint on an angle, you get beautiful mixes versus when it's just flat. And so then I have my I have my smaller palette for my watercolor. This is my glass palette. This is where I'm going to put all my pigment. So I got some cobalt blue from Cotman. All right, here's some cream gold. I got some deep sap green. And I got some raw umber, or burnt umber. We're gonna put that over here. And I just need a little bit. That's why I thought, oh, if I just did dots of all the different colors that I use all the time, and I know that Christy Rice does that, it's kind of fun. Manganese blue, which is one of my favorite blues in the summer. It has some titanium white in it. Okay. Now that I got these colors, I also have my water cup right here, which is like silicone, and I am ready to go. Okay, so I got my colors. Here's my palette. Here's my palette. Here's that deep sap green. It's absolutely stunning. Here is my manganese blue, which is like my favorite for summer blue skies. Here's a little bit of that burnt umber. I love using a glass or porcelain palette because once I mix things, it's really like, it's just so nice to mix. And then I got my Quinn Gold, which will help with the green. I can get some beautiful greens with the green gold and the deep sap green. And I can also use a little bit of this manganese blue right in here and get some beautiful colors. So now that I got my palette ready to go, I can paint this real quick. All right, so because I have green on my brush, I'm just going to get this all wet, and I think the idea here is that I just want to I want the eagle to be the main focus, but to paint the eagle, I basically do like 2 strokes to paint the eagle. This is a Blue Night rubber stamp set, which I love. I'm very grateful for them. They make really beautiful stamps, but I just want a little bit of like this green haze on the bottom, you know. You don't really pay attention to the trees when you see the eagles. At least I don't. Maybe you do. And I'm okay moving these magnets around a little bit. I just like having this freedom, but I can move it up to the top because I will probably want that. But I love working on an angle. You might not like that this is warping a little bit. So you could, now that it's done, I can probably put that back on, and I will probably trim this card up a little bit. But let's get in. I just want to add some of this blue. Look at that blue with the sap green. Oh, it's so pretty. And because it's at an angle, it's just going to blend nicely. I don't have to do a whole lot to it. And I think that's what helps with being a professional watercolor artist versus a newbie, is you don't know how to blend your pigments on the paper as a newbie, but as a professional, you're like, I'm just gonna drop some water in here and some watercolor in there, and it's gonna look beautiful. And that's because we've put in the time for it, and having this at an angle kind of helps with that. It kind of like evens that playing field out a little bit. Now I could spend a couple more times. Now for this technique, this is just a wet into wet. I'm just dabbing in a little bit of manganese blue where that yellow was, to soften up that yellow because it was too yellowy in my opinion. Okay, and that will then lead to my next bit, And that is I want the sky and the green to just kind of like mesh together, but I don't want it to get into the bald eagle. So I'm wetting it down. I'm wetting everything but the eagle, because eventually that's going to be sky. And I can take some of this, because it's a nice big palette, I have room to add just the blue. Oh, look at that blue. I love this blue for skies. I do think that you get see, I can go right into that green, clean my brush, and get some more of that beautiful blue. And it just kind of meshes in with that green because it's so pretty. And you don't have to be super exact right there because it's pretty dark. Kind of. And this is how you get color harmony, which I also love. Okay. There is a small chance I'm going to need some more blue. And I can always just take some off there. Now what I could do is I could add some sky. So let's do that. I just took some water, put it on there, and now I'm lifting up that water, and it will lift up the blue. Just like that. Okay. Yeah. And I can do that. Some more. And there's lots of ways to make the sky. I'm just doing something very simple just to make it look like there's the sky. Again, the eagle is the main priority. Okay, so with that, I think I will let it dry. Once it's dry, I can go in and finish up the eagle, which will look beautiful. All right, so the advantages of using two glass board palettes is one, you have one that's your work surface, and then another one is your palette. And I'm really grateful for both of these. I'm so grateful that Glass Board has these. I love that there's like no markings on it. You could totally use this for stenciling too. If you didn't want to get a nice big board like this, you could get a 9x12 glass board just like this and use it for stenciling. And then get the smaller board for all your color palette needs. I also think that this is a great palette for mixed media, acrylic paint, gouache. Gouache would be really easy on this. That'd be fun to use. The cleanup is so nice. I love glass palettes because you can mix the colors really nicely, and it's not plasticky, so it won't beat up as well. And it's just to me, glass palettes are really fantastic to have. So look up glassboardstudios.com, and I have a 10% off promo code to give you as well. And get some of your magnets. Get the Mega Bar magnets, which are these, and then just the regular, I think they're called like just pawn magnets or small magnets, and they'll do the job. And you can also use these on the board as well. I use these all the time when I watercolor, and I think they are fantastic to have.